Check Bob.
Hello, welcome to the Diaspora panel, the voice of the diaspora. I'm here in the studio with my very good friend, Mr. Olaiton Adediba. Mr. Adediba, you are welcome to today's meeting.
Yeah, thanks, good evening. Thanks for having me.
I'm also here with my brother, Mr. Olalawal, who is based in Calgary, in Canada. Mr. Lawal, you are also welcome.
Thank you for having me, and good afternoon, good day to all our viewers.
Thank you. And by the way, Mr. Adediba is based in the United States of America. And my name is Dejiolaya. I am in Ireland. In Dublin, the Republic of Ireland. Today, we are going to discuss a new book that was written by a former self-styled president, Ibrahim Babangida, who ruled Nigeria for about 8 years before he stepped aside. And that's about 32 years ago. He has now written a kind of autobiography, which was launched a few days ago. And the elites of the Nigerian political class went to the launching of the book, where they donated about 18 billion naira to his presidential library. So this is what we want to discuss today. So, Lighton, I'm going to take on you first. This man who cancelled a very vital election in 1992, an election that saw MP Abiola win this election. He cancelled that election. Abiola was then arrested by the subsequent Abacha regime. Abiola died in detention. The whole of Nigeria was thrown into turmoil. The whole of Nigeria went into spasm, and up to today, we have never recovered from this person. And this man now came out to write a book to now say that Abiola won that election. He now said that the Northern Emirs, Abacha, if you Northern soldiers in the military, they were the one who pressurized him not to allow a Southerner to become the president of Nigeria. So, first of all, what is your general opinion about that book? I'm not launching.
About the book?
Yeah. What is your general impression?
About the book launch? My general
about the book itself. About the book itself.
Yeah, the book is long overdue. But after 32 years, coming now to write a book, like Maradonic in his Maradonic way, that normally, and to put favor and branding into the book, he brought him former vice president, right, a professor of law,
PYO,
Professor Shibajo, to be the book reviewer, right? Ordinarily, many Nigerians, I'm not talking about the Gen Z now, many Nigerians who are born in 60s, 70s, they will know the evil machination that the Babangida wrought on that country called Nigeria. Like all evil in Nigeria that befell the country, like they are all traceable to Babangida, right? Apart from the killing of his best friend, the annulment, the ex-firm, the exchange rate, all this stuff, right? They are all traceable to Babangida. So why is it coming out at the twilight of his existence, now saying that he never even regretted? As a sort of, he don't show a penitence. He just said, okay, all what happened, right? I take credibility for what? To those people who died, to millions of people that left that you killed, that the Abacha killed, that the military junta killed. A lot happened in Nigeria. Everywhere is full of suspense. You cannot, even your mind will not be at rest. If you are going, you don't know what can happen to you. If you hear they are sure bomb in Akure today, in Ibadan tomorrow, in Abeokuta tomorrow, everywhere. It just created that fear, right, to the mind of everybody. And the book is all about lies that we know him for. And he changes. He has a way of this thing is highly intelligent. Give it to him. His Maradonic way, he will just be twisting stuff. He said, like one of the pages, he said, if he had to write it again, if he had to do it again, he will do it differently, right? If he said he will not do it differently, that is what he said. So he never show any remorse. He never show any penitence.
He didn't even say sorry. He didn't say I'm sorry.
He didn't even say sorry. Even to the family of those who died, those who are being a breadwinner of their family, those people who have been taking care of their wives and the children. No, even to the Abiola family, it's a slap on the whole country. Not to the Abiola family alone. A lot of people that the election that he canceled, that was where the genesis of disenchantment to election, to voting.
Nigeria's problem, Papa. Yeah.
Everybody I believe that, okay, the election that they will cancel, that they determine, some people, the calculated few will determine the fate of Nigeria. Like, why am I going to vote? Then when somebody can say, okay, I rise up, they will cancel the election. So the apathy that the voters are showing now is emanated from this attitude of Babangida, right? And up to tomorrow, he will die any moment from. God saves him.
No, we don't wish anybody dead. Yeah, we don't wish him, please.
No, that's what I said. Sorry for that. I said he's at the twilight of his existence. He should come out and say, "I'm sorry. I'm deeply sorry." The money realized inside the presidential library, he should use it, right, to make sure that they turn Nigeria to something else. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Super. What's your general impression about the book and about the launch?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the book really reveals what Nigerian society is, and who some of our past leaders are. And I will speak very specifically about a couple of things. That June 12 election was the only election that I voted in Nigeria. And I think everybody who voted in that election would agree, as also mentioned by international observers, that that election was the freest and the fairest in the history of Nigeria. MK Abiola actually won in Kano, which was the state of his opponent, Alhaji Bashir Tofa. It cannot be any fairer than that. And imagine what that boost will have done to our young democracy. What that will have done is it will have sent a signal to Nigerians that their voice and their power at the ballot box is real. What it will have done for the country is it will have actually emboldened citizens to participate and to have more confidence in the democratic process. That, I believe, actually will have likely changed Nigeria's landscape, that people would now realize, if leaders don't deliver, I can remove them at the ballot box. If they deliver, I can give them, a better opportunity to even do more. And that actually would have potentially given us a different Nigeria. What happened actually was the opposite. A whole country voted, and a bunch of selfish, self-centered people decided they weren't going to have the results. And the leader at that point in time, who happens to be General Ibrahim Babangida, didn't have the balls, excuse my language, to actually stand up and uphold the will of the people. What we saw and what he eventually told us through the book is that, one, a few people can determine and throw away the will of the people in Nigeria. Two, that there is absolutely no consequence for any of their actions. As a matter of fact, I think it was on page 300 or so, he actually did say that Nigerians don't read,
they don't
ask questions. So you have to understand the mindset that these are people who think they can do whatever and they will get away with it. Thirdly, it shows that there is no accountability in Nigerian society, because for a society where there is a rule, where there's the rule of law, when a book like that gets published, what happens is people look at it, and where there are questions that need to be asked, these people, Babangida himself, would have been summoned to actually answer certain questions. That's not what happened. The opposite actually happened, where he was being celebrated.
Mm.
Money was being given to what? So, what we are in fact saying to Nigerians is, you can do anything that you want. You can take any decision that you like. You can do things and even slap the people to their faces, and there will be no consequence. Rather, you will be celebrated. Is the message that we are sending. And it is very disheartening. And finally, let me say, personally, I'm disappointed that even President Bola Ahmed Tinubu actually attended that, because this was somebody who cracked down on pro-democracy voices. I
Drove
mean,
you out of Nigeria.
you can acknowledge that a book was written, but I don't think as the president, he should have gone, he should have gone as far as actually gracing such a ludicrous gathering with his presence, and even go as far, as praising IBB, um, and even allowing people to actually donate money. As a matter of fact, what should actually happen is that for everybody that donated money at the book launch, the EFCC should actually be opening up files to look at how much money they declared in their last 5-10 year income tax returns, and where they actually got the money that they donated. That is what I expect from a society where there is the rule of law. I think what we've seen is that there is no rule of law in Nigeria. We are governed
Thank
by the
you.
rule of men, and as a result, we are still subject to their whims and their caprices, as the referral to me will say.
Thank you. Lighton, just want to ask you one quick question, but before that, I'm just going to make some comment. I think it was a very poor book. I think that book should not have been written. The book is full of lies, lies. And I'm so sorry. IBB is a crooked liar. Crooked. It was. He said Abacha was the one who announced the election. He said it was Abacha that annulled the election. And it was announced by somebody who was working for Abacha. IBB that I saw on the TV annulled the election by himself. He didn't tell us anything about the death of Delegi. Who killed Delegiwa? Up to today, we don't know. Then he framed his best friend, Mama Vasta, killed Mama Vasta out of nothing. There was this a group of officers who are flying from Lagos to something that their plane was shot down in Ejigbo. Do you remember that?
Yes, 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 yes.
Look at there's so many evil things this man did. Look at how many people died during that scuffle. And the reason why this man annulled the election, was because he wanted to continue to transform into a civilian president. In fact, 2 years before then, he changed himself from head of state to president, an unelected president. That is what he wanted. And even when it was obvious that he could not stay in power, he didn't say, I'm leaving. He said, I'm stepping aside.
Stepping aside, yes.
And then he put Shonekon there so that Shonekon can organize an Arumoja election so that he could come back. Unfortunately, somebody like Abacha has some other plans. So, Laito, the question I want to ask you is, why does evil flourish in Nigeria? Why is it that it is evil people that win election? Why is it that the people really love? Why are they all evil? Why?
The kind of society we have is the kind of leaders we have in Nigeria. And don't forget, our leaders after the post-independent, I mean, let me say, our leaders since 80s, right? They are not as truthful. They are not as they don't have the desire to assist fellow human beings. Like the set of Awolowo, Ajasin, Obnobori, all these people, right? Ambrose Ali, Azikwe, all these people, if we have all those sets, they know what it is to bail out people. They know what it is to for a dynamic society. But these people, all what they are after is themselves and their family. Nothing concerns them. I mean, look at somebody who came out, right? They're okay in Nigeria, and we want to be sending Nigerians to overseas to go and study, then come back to come and be the president. I mean, to come and hold public offices. Somebody who built Cocoa House, somebody who did National Stadium, I mean, who did Liberty Stadium, so to say, somebody who did Granite Pyramid in the north. So the operas in the east, what they did, but these people, all what they are after is, and they now did, they now make sure that they perpetrate themselves in power, and any opposition, anybody that wants, they give them money, they try to buy them over, and once they buy them over, right? I mean, that is all. So those people they buy over, they will now continue telling those, just take it easy. Nigeria will be okay. Take it easy. The government is trying. Take it easy. As if that the government, they don't vote. What the government is doing is not what they voted him to go and do. They don't know. Everybody, you see some enlightened people, they'll be telling you that, okay, the governor is trying, he constructed the road, they are doing power generation, they are doing the state government. What are they doing? What are the state government doing? If the federal government is doing this, is doing that, what are the state government doing? So those state government, they secluded themselves from the people they are governing. Right? They don't know, they don't get the feedback. What are we doing? How are we fearing? What are we going to do to make the lives better? I don't expect now. Why I was in the local government, I discovered that we normally do empowerment, right? We empower people. We do skill acquisition. We give people money. We give them stuff. But these days they do nothing like that again. All the state governors, they collected all their money and they were giving them salary, right? So these are the area. I mean, life have to go to the people at the grassroots. Without that, people will just be wallow in unspeakable privation, hunger, and starvation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Lighton. So let me come to you, Shupo. You know, when somebody is a crooked liar, and you lie and lie and lie, sometimes you won't know when you say some truth. You know, one takeaway I see from the book is that the North does not want the South to rule Nigeria. It is plain. He said it himself. All the pressures to make sure that the election was annulled is because Abiola is from the South, and all the pressures are coming from the northern leaders, from the emirs, from the military leaders. So now that we now know, now we've been saying this, you know, in hushed voices in the bedrooms, and that maybe, well, people are saying no, it's not like that. But now we know that actually the reason why that election was annulled is because Abiola is from the South, and did not want to maintain their hold on the country. Now that we now know this is the situation of things, we now know why when Tinubu wanted to become president, we now know why Buhari did not support him. We now know why they changed the Naira. We now know why they made sure that there's no fuel. We now know why they were throwing everything at Tinubu. They wanted to make sure that they demarketed APC just to make sure that Tinubu lost that election. But unfortunately for them, they were dealing with the master of the game.
Strategist.
Yeah, they were dealing with the master of the game. So he defeated them and he won. But now that we have known, Shubo, now that we have known that Nigeria is not one country, Nigeria is actually 6 different countries. So do you not think it is now the right time for us to actually sit down and look at the devil in the eye? We need to look at the devil in the eye. We need to have this conversation. We are not a nation. We're a group of nations. So we either go back to our regional system structure, so that the one that actually was very useful for us, and go back to our parliamentary democracy, so that we have a prime minister in the middle who will not control any resources, who then will depend on the regions for money. And then the prime minister can then use that money to pay the salaries of the soldiers, to do foreign, for foreign affairs. That's all we need. It is evident because every time when there's going to be a general election to elect a president, it's always a problem in Nigeria. There's a tussle between the North and the South. For how long are we going to continue this? How long are we going to continue to, anytime there's an election, it's a problem. So do you think this is the time now for us? Now that we know this is no longer them say, we now know that there's a tussle between the North and the South. Don't you think it's time for us to look at the devil in the eye? Jacob?
I would agree with you. It is. The challenge is the North does not want to have that conversation because there is no way actually that they can actually win that conversation. I think if you look at what's been happening, and as in probably our last video, when did you ever hear that a government, a bill that is being tabled in government is not favorable to the South? You never hear that. It is always the North. It is against the North. Oh, it's against Northern interests. So I think the right way to even put it is Nigeria is either governed by a Northerner or a Southerner who was placed there by the North, who is doing the North's bidding. I think that is very clear. And I think Southerners should not stand for that any longer. I think this is the time to have an open, frank, and honest conversation as to how Nigeria should be structured and how it should be governed. And I will give you some examples why I said they don't want to have that conversation. If you look at the GDP, they say the North is bigger in landmass. The North has more people, but it's the North that generates the least revenue. Now, the smaller part of the country in land size and the smaller in population is practically generating the revenue that is being spent across the federation.
90%.
So if you look at that data, who should be the right to govern the country? Should it not be from the South? Also, how does it make sense to take somebody who cannot even generate enough revenue to cover his own expenses in his own region to then be, what are they going to give to Nigeria other than the model that they have? If you look at the South, you see people forming companies, people starting companies, people doing trade, doing all of that. What do we get from the North? It's always Boko Haram, Lakurawa, and all these preposterous. So it is not a winning conversation. And if you know that you're not going to win the conversation, what do? You never allow that conversation to happen. That has been the Northern strategy from the onset. That is what they're still doing. And this is the time we ought to have that conversation, because I don't believe that Nigeria can go ahead with the current structure and the current governance. I think to do so would be to actually put the entire nation on a keg of gunpowder.
Thank you, Shukwa. Later, I'm going to ask you the last question now. So now, based on what we have now found out from Babangida's book, that there's a tussle between the North and the South. This tussle has been there since 1960. The North and the South are tussling. And it's not only even North and South, there's North, there's West, there's East. So we know, look at when Buhari was president, he northernized the entire structure. When Jonathan was there, 90%, many, in fact, the Yoruba were fenced out of governance. All the people in the real sector, they're all Igbos. Tinubu is the president now. If you look at the structure now, you can see that there's a preponderance of Yorubas in governance. So it looked like anytime the presidency goes to one region, the region monopolizes that power. So for how long are we going to? Nigeria cannot develop with this, pull it down, pull it up, pull it down. Like, do you not think Nigeria should divide and have peace?
I've said it several times that I don't believe in what this inconvenient marriage of Nigeria. Nigeria, we are not one. Why are we pretending to be one? An instance whereby the law, let's take it from the law of the country. Right? If I tell you the northern, the northerners, they don't obey the law, right? The law, we catch up with the southerners, right? Anybody in the elites. So why are we pretending that we are one at the same? Right? Why are we saying that we are indefensible, 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 indivisible? Right? It is wrong. Let's say things as they are. Right? Nigeria is not one. And the reason why it's not one is those people at the end of affairs, those people who have been leading us, they gang up, right? And the Fulani, they make sure that they are on top of the game. They make use of them, our highlights in the southern part, to suppress us, to suppress whatever they want, to get done whatever they want to do, right? That is why they are saying that it is not the interest, it is not anything that is not in the interest of the North, it will not fly, right? It is the Northerner that they will say they should remove history, they should remove literature from the curriculum in the school, right? So these are the areas we just need to see that. Let's say, okay, Nigeria, how do we want to manage ourselves? I believe if we want to manage, the resources, how do we want to manage it? The our people, how do we want to manage our people? Right? These are the areas. Not that the emir will be dictating something from the Sokoto. I'll be saying somebody that they should appoint in the federal ministry. Somebody that the emir are saying that they should not give the power to they should not go back to the south. For what? And we are in the same country. Right?
Yeah.
The emir, they will dictate, those people will go to the defense. They will compare themselves with the people who are in the military. They will compare themselves with the civil service. They will look at this. These are the areas. We are not one. As a matter of fact, if you want to go, let us go. If you want to do regionalism, let us. If you can't go, let's do regionalism. Let everybody depend on their own place.
I think to add to what Mr.
Thank you, Lighter.
Yes.
I think to add to what Mr. Adedigba just said, I have just a little bit of a different perspective, because if we look at the North, I think it is the Fulanis that are really the problem, because they are the ones that have this feudal mindset that everybody should be their subjects. Because if you look at the North as well, I think houses have been significantly marginalized, and it ought not to be. If every ethnic group in Nigeria can subscribe to this policy that we are all equal, we should all be treated equally, and everybody should have a big share of whatever revenue they generate, and then share whatever is remaining with their fellow countrymen. If we can all agree on that, I think a significant amount of these problems will be resolved. The reason why we have problems is that a certain section of the country believes it is their birthright to be leaders, and everybody else should be their subjects. And no matter how much conversation you have with somebody, with people with that mindset, it cannot result in any meaningful outcome unless they relinquish that agenda. This is the problem in Nigeria. If Fulanis can relinquish their conquest agenda, that they should be the rulers and everybody else should be their subjects, we actually could have a bit of a different country where they are doing their part, houses are doing their part, other minorities are doing their part, and we are all living, together as members of the same country, each with equal rights and each in their own way contributing. These
Okay.
are conversations that need to be had, and it requires people who have the willingness to listen to other people, not just listen to their own voices, and compromise. I think that is what
Thank
is
you.
needed, and I think that's what needs to happen.
Thank you very much, Shupo. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, so we are going to have to close. But I'm just going to say this before we leave. Uh, for what you said, that if the Fulani can relinquish their conquest idea, I don't think they can do that. I think right now they have gone to, what we call, they're on the point of no return because they have damaged themselves beyond repair. And I'm looking at Nigeria. I've added everything together. I've subtracted it. I've multiplied it. I've divided it. And I have concluded that Nigeria is better off as 6 different countries. Look, the Northwest, for example, they have arable land. They have land that, they have gold in Zamfara. They have a lot of mineral resources. Look at the North Central. They have lithium in Nasarawa. They have tin in Jos. They have most of the yams that we buy in Europe here, they are from Benue. They are from Nasarawa. They are from Plateau. They have enough land. Look at the Northwest. There's a lot of minerals in the Northeast. Look at the South. They have oil. There's oil in the South. The Southeast, they have oil in the Southeast, and they have human resources. Southwest, well, we have human resources. So each of these different regions we can stand by our own on our own. And none of these regions is less than 30 million. 30, a lot of most of the countries in Africa now, none of them is maybe less than 30 million. So we can have peace. It is not compulsory for us to be locked in it. We are not in a, we are, we, it's like you are bringing a goat and a sheep together. There's union, but there's no unity. There's no unity. So this is too much. And Nigerians are the ones suffering. Nigerians are, when somebody, Tinubu is doing so well today now, somebody comes after Tinubu and then destroys everything because it's from the north. So I think this is the conversation we need to have. So I want to thank you so much, Mr. Olatunde, all the way from America. Thank you so much for your contribution tonight.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And Mr. Olalawa, all the way from Canada. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you for having me.
For all our viewers, please, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please hit that button now so that when we do the next video, you'll be one of the first people to know about it. So we'll see you again on Sunday. God bless you and goodbye.